A very common way to do applique on a Bernina is to switch to stitch number 2, make the width as desired, and then shorten the stitch length as you'd like. Now, depending on how thick your thread is, will determine how close of stitch you'll need to really get a nice closed up zigzag. Now, I am going to show you a couple of tricks. Number 1, there's another stitch in your machine that you can use. Number 2, as you can see by the way it is centered in the foot, you're going to have to kind of keep an eye on how to guide your fabric. One of my favorite things to do is actually use your needle position and move it over to the far right side. And then you can guide the fabric down the inside of the toe. Great way to have a guide, because the main recommendation is you want as much of the satin stitch on your applique fabric. So I really just want the right needle to jump barely into the base fabric, keeping the majority of it on the yellow fabric as noted. Again, test out. I love the fact that we can so dial in minute difference changes in the stitch length, and if you have a thinner thread, you are going to be closer to probably 2.25 millimeters. But again, you're going to test out, see how thick you want it to be. I always like a nice close together. Now, I did mention that you have another stitch. So in your decorative stitch area, arrow down to your quilting menu, and once again you're going to need to arrow down to almost the last stitch. 1354 is a pre-programmed satin stitch, and let's see here, the default setting is 2.5 millimeters. I do like to once again move that needle position all the way to the side. Let's just try it out. And then just see, that is kind of on the narrow side. I probably would want to actually get that to be a little bit wider so I can really get a nice bite on my fabric. So let's just try it up about 3.5 here and just see the difference. I like the fact that I can change it while I'm sewing. Oh, I've got a really short stitch length, about 0.3, and kind of a normal thickness of sewing thread. So let's just see how it is actually looking here for what we're going for. Ooh, that is really nice and dense. That would be something I would be happy with. But yes, as it starts, it's fairly narrow, but you can set it for any width, all the way up to 9 millimeters wide.